Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that guy. Look at that guy. Look at that. He hit, oh boy, look at that big old bass. Look at that's what we're talking about. Flipping up some big fish. It's the new Psycho Dad by Yamamoto. Big old nice trophy bass, huh?
He is the current record holder with 9 BASS Angler of the Year awards, has 19 BASS tournament wins, and qualified for the Bassmasters Classic 25 times.
Strike. Oh yeah. Boy, he hit that thing. He hit, oh boy, that big old bass. Look at that's what we're talking about. Flipping up some big fish. Picking up big giant bass like this one. That's what we're talking about, son. That's what we got here. Look at this guy. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Flipping up giant fish. Okay. Flipping a new lure. This is the new, it's a new Psycho Dad by Yamamoto, a Psycho Dad lure. Big old giant fish. Let me just show you a little bit about this lure. I'm gonna let it go. Now, I'm using a new lure today, the Psycho Dad by Yamamoto. It's a brand new crawdad looking flipping lure, and I'm gonna use that for today's show because it really works well. Works good at Lake Okeechobee. It works good in South Oklahoma. We're in one of the water management lakes in southern Oklahoma, and there's just lots of bass here, lots of heavy cover. You need heavy tackle and a good flipping technique to catch them out of these heavy bushes. Wow, 5-pound bass.
Bass Pro Shops presents Fishing with Roland Martin. Brought to you by Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Gary Yamamoto Custom Baits, designed by fishermen for fishermen. And by Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Closed caption provided by Spro Lures. Bass Pro Shops is a proud sponsor of Fishing with Roland Martin.
There's two ways to flip and pitch. The other way is on a shorter cast, I take the line like this and actually swing it. I'm probably making longer pitches, so that's good for shallow water places in close to the bank, but I think for this is a little bit open, I'm maybe throwing a little bit farther. So I'm instead of doing the flip, I'm gonna probably pitch. And by pitching, what I do is instead of holding it like this, that's flipping, I'm gonna pitch it by holding the lure like this and letting the reel go, and I can go a little farther with it. It doesn't have quite the quiet presentation of a flip, but it gets pretty accurate, and it doesn't splash too hard. Sometimes in these lakes like this, there'll be fish that travel in groups, little schools of bass. And so whenever you catch one, really work the area over. And I threw in by that old cedar tree. This lake's about 15 years old, and the cedar trees, some are still there. Those cedar trees right there, they're all cedar trees. And then some of these are oak and pecan trees, like right here. And they're starting to rot away, but that's still, after 15 years, there's still a lot of cover. Strike. I got another one. I got another one. I got another one. Another big bass. Another pretty good bass. No, flipping them up. Son. There is maybe a school of fish here. That's the second one in the same spot. Let me pull away from it so I don't spook them and see what happens. Okay. Nice little bass. Not near as big as that first one, but still a nice fish. Psycho Dad by Yamamoto. If you're floundering around, don't have the right color, don't have the right lure, you're just in the wrong part of the lake, you don't have any, you just can't fish good. But if somebody has told you this is a good spot, this is a good lure, this is a good color, if someone has told you, or possibly the color selector has told you, or your own intuition tells you this is a good spot, or maybe previous experience, that confidence catches fish. Water's 12.4, so there's a 5-foot little depression right there, and that makes a difference. That's why they're there. I guess there's a little bit of a depression, kind of a little wash. Not much of a channel so much as a little depression. If you look in the banks, and you'll see little depressions all up on the bank, and that's kind of what it is. There's one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes, sir. He was in that tree. Okay. Flipping them up, flipping them up. Oh yeah, nice fish. That's a good one. Look at that guy. Boy, I'm getting him right in the top of the lip. That's just the perfect spot for him. You know, it gets him right in the top. Okay, this Psycho Dad is really doing the number on him. But I'm gonna have to get another one. I'm using the darker color. Seems like Flippin, it's just a good color. I love the green pumpkin real well. That's another good color. I checked my color selector, and my color selector, it kind of said blue might have something to do with it because it's pretty clear water, and it recommended a blue. So I went to a blue metal flake black, like the color selector said. Now you know the thing about a color selector, if you use the color that the color selector recommends, quite often that's the confidence factor that you really need. Once you know that you have the right color, you can fish a little bit better. And I found that be a real important thing. Confidence in your fishing and knowing that you have the right color and the right lure is a huge part of fishing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on out of there. Come on out. Yes, sir, son. Another big old fat bass. Oh, son. Big old fat 4 or 5 pounder. 4 pounder. Yes, sir. That's what it's all about. Big old nice trophy bass, huh? Yep. This Flippin is the way to get them in the heavy cover. You gotta have some heavy tackle. Gotta have some heavy tackle to get them out.
This segment of Fishing with Roland Martin is brought to you by All Day Turbo Power Energy Drink. Finally, healthy energy. Nitro Boats presents this segment of Fishing with Roland Martin.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that guy, look at that guy. Yes, sir, son. That's another good bass. How big is that one? Oh, 3 or 4 pounds. 3 or 4 pounds. He's a good one. Another big old bass. He was in there just sucking on it. He actually hit it, dropped it, hit it, dropped it. I didn't know what I had. He was just kind of taking it funny. Okay, that's quality. That's quality. That's quality. Another Psycho Dad bit the dust. Come on out of there. Come on. Oh. Oh, I'm telling you what, folks. This is something, you know, it's not that hard to get permission to get into these areas. Now this is a watershed lake that's privately owned, and it's about, you know, close to 100 acres of land, of water. And you know what I did, I got on my iPad, and I got an iPad here, and I'll just show you on the iPad real quick. But the iPad will show you a lot of really interesting places to fish. And you can take your iPad, nice big 3-pound bass, but I can take my iPad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lakes in this one little area. It's just one little area of rural Oklahoma. 8 lakes the size of this one in a 5-mile area, way out in the middle of nowhere. And so there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lakes. When you fly, and I remember flying from Dallas to, say, Tulsa, I would look back to the west on, say, the setting sun, and you'd catch the reflection of the sun off all these lakes, and there's just absolutely hundreds of lakes, stock ponds and watershed lakes that the state's built, because see, this area of Oklahoma can be dry. So they recommend watershed lakes. They recommend storage lakes for all the farmers and stuff. So whenever they can talk a farmer into putting a lake on his property, they'll do that just for the watershed factor. And it's big cattle country. Oklahoma is like the 3rd largest cattle producer in the country. Everyone. Oh, God. Son. Oh, yeah. He was in that tree. Oh. Okay. Let's see if I can get this thing here out. Okay, another good fish. Goes up. Oh, where'd he go? Oh yeah, look at that guy. Holy moly, what a fish. Another giant fish. Another giant. You know, I'm gonna tell you about this equipment. I got some heavy cover, and I'm flipping some big 4, 5, and 6-pound fish out. And this is some really quality fish, but I have the right equipment. That's the big deal. Have the right equipment. Beautiful, beautiful bass. What I have today, that happens to be 65-pound braid, diamond braid. That's a tungsten weight. And this is one of my Roland Martin flipping sticks. It's a 7.5-foot series flipping stick. And this is the Johnny Morris, Signature Series reel. I love it to death. It's just a great, great, great reel. 65-pound braid. Heavy, heavy tackle. And that is the deal. I'm telling you what, folks, there are some beautiful fish here. And that's the kind of fish you can have with a good flipping bite like we have today. So what we do is flip right on the edge of that channel. This is the new Psycho Dad. One thing I like about the Psycho Dad, it's a little bit tougher plastic, and the hook stays buried in there, and it's a little bit more weedless, I think, than a lot of the softer baits that you might get. With those little wings, I'll show you how those little wings work. Those little wings really work good. I'll get a Psycho Dad right here. Put a little bit of Mega Strike on it. I can put the Mega Strike on it anytime. Just a little teeny dab right on my finger like that. That's all you need for the Mega Strike. Okay. You wipe it all over the product, all over the worm. Okay. Now, when you hook it up, see these little wings, those little wire wings, they just come through about 3/8 of an inch at the head.